welcome to Mayflower. We have a lot of works in literature that deals with what are the qualities of a good work. The best example is Aristotle's Poetics, in which Aristotle describes what are the good qualities of a good work, just like drama, poetry, epic poetry, comedy, etc. And all these art forms should have proper qualities according to Aristotle. Here also we are discussing such a work. The name of the work is On the Sublime by Longinus. In this work, Longinus describes what are the qualities or what should be the aesthetic qualities of a good work. Longinus wrote this book in the 1st century AD, and it is very doubtful regarding the authorship of this work. Some people said that it is Cassius Longinus, and some others describes it is Decius Longinus, and it is still doubtful. And here the work On the Sublime is the English translation. Originally it was written in Greek and the title is Peri Hypsous. It was translated into English by John Hall in the 17th century, and the title is On the Sublime. And it contains 17 chapters, and it is an incomplete work. This work is incomplete, and it is regarded as the authorship of this work is still doubtful. However, it is regarded as Longinus wrote the work. And in this work, Longinus says that the work should contain some qualities. First of all, the author describes what is sublimity. Sublimity, the title itself is On the Sublime. Here, the author defines what is sublimity. He says that sublimity in literature is the echo of greatness of spirit, that is the moral and imaginative power of the writer that pervades his work. The writer, that means Longinus says that there should be a great spirit or a great idea that should be pervading in a work. That means that is the greatness of the work that should remain or that should be present throughout the work. Then he says it is an innate quality. This noble power or this innate capacity is inborn. He again says that sublimity has a psychological effect on the reader, and through this sublimity we are transported from one region to another region. That means from one world to another world. While we are reading a work, we are in fact transported from one world to another world. That is called the sublimity of the work. He again says we feel a kind of transience or ecstasy, that is ecstasis in Greek, which literally means stand out of oneself. Ecstasis in Greek means stands out of oneself. That means while we are reading a work, we can feel a journey from one world to another. It is another world. While we are reading, we can feel that we are in somewhere else. In ancient times, it is believed that a work should motivate and teach people. That means the ultimate aim of a work is to teach and delight others. But according to Longinus, a work should transport persons from one place to another. That means the person or the reader should feel that he is in another world while he is reading the work. Then he says that a work should bring the reader from one world to another, and a work should be felt. We should feel the impact of the reading. For example, while we are reading Homer's or Pindaric works, we can feel the reading or we can feel the work. So that is or that should be the type of work. The work should transport the reader from one world to another, and also the work can bring a feeling in the reader. Next he says that great authors only can create such type of effect. He says that Longinus says that it is great readers or great writers who can only bring such type of quality. Longinus then describes the 5 principal sources of sublime. It is very important. First one, grandeur of thought. Next year, capacity for strong emotions. Then appropriate use of figures. Fourth one, nobility of diction. And fifth one, dignity of composition. These are the 5 principal sources of sublime. First one, grandeur of thought. Longinus says that the thought should be noble. The thought means the thought of the author should be sublime and noble. He says that a noble thought only can create or produce noble ideas. So there should be grandeur of thought or greatness of thought. And for having a nobility or noble thoughts, the author should keep an elevated or noble life. While he is keeping a noble or elevated life, he can produce noble thoughts, and from these noble thoughts, great ideas will be produced. And through these great ideas, the work should be in a great way. That is the grandeur of thought. That means there should be the greatness in the thought. Next one, capacity for strong emotions. Next principal source is capacity for strong emotions. Longinus says that there should be strong emotions in the work. That means there should not be fictitious or silly emotions. Longinus says that the emotions that are presented in the work should be real to life or true to life. There should not be fictitious descriptions or over explanations regarding emotions. There should be a reality to life or emotions, a reality of emotions. Next one, appropriate use of figures. Figures here means figures of speech. There should be appropriate or proper use of figures of speech. Figures of speech like your similes, metaphors, etc. There should be a proper use of these figures of speech, and this proper use of figures of speech can produce good effect among the readers, and then the work should be an effective one. Next one, nobility of diction. Nobility of diction means there should be proper usage of words and phrases. The words and phrases should be used in a proper way, and thus there can bring nobility of diction. Through the proper use of words and phrases, we can bring dignity of composition, or we can feel the work in a proper way, and through this usage we can bring a nobility of thought and a nobility of ideas. These are the 5 principles that Longinus describes as the principal sources of sublime. Sophocles, Euripides, Aeschylus, Homer, etc. are regarded as the great writers. It is regarded as Longinus is the first writer who made a comparative study of authors. And later, Matthew Arnold done such a comparative study by using touchstone method. In touchstone method, Matthew Arnold says that by comparing the works of great writers, we can make or we can find out the greatness or nobility of the work. Matthew Arnold says that if we want to find out the nobility of a work, we have to compare that work with the works of great authors like Homer or great Greek writers. This is touchstone method. Such a comparative study is done by Matthew Arnold, and before Matthew Arnold, it was Longinus who made such a study. And Matthew Arnold also said that it is by comparing with the great authors we can find out the nobility of the work. In the same way, Longinus also says that we can compare, or we have to study the great works of great authors, then only we can attain nobility. Then he divides false sublimity and real sublimity. Longinus says that a true sublime work or a real sublime work has an ability to please the reader always. The reader can be pleased always, all through the ages, through a good work. But a false work or a false noble work is noted with bombastic language and dull expressions, and the emotions are mechanical. That work is not real, and we cannot find such real qualities or realities in false noble works. That is the divisions. In real works, we can see the reality or the work or the emotions that are presented in the real work is always real, and it can please the readers in all times. But in fake or but in false noble works, the language is very bombastic and pompous language, and the emotions expressed in such works are mechanical and that are not real. And also we can see dull expressions in false sublime works. Scott James regards Longinus as the first romantic critic of worldly literature, and Alexander Pope, John Dryden, etc., are always influenced by Longinus. These are the main points. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.